The ST1272A cycle carriers are designed to fit roof bars, load bars, stuff like that. They can be fitted directly onto the roof of a car, or they can be fitted onto the load bars of a trailer like the one in front of us. This particular trailer is having three cycle carriers fitted to its load bars. I'm going to build the centre one, and it's going to be built with the front wheel towards the back. This allows, with the narrow width, the centre bike to sit one way and the two outer bikes to sit the other way, so that the handlebars don't clash. When you open the box, there is a box full of fittings, and then a rail complete with a frame mount. First of all, remove the main rail, then open the box with all the fittings in. This load bar this cycle carrier has a T-slot cut into the bottom of it. And some flat-headed bolts like this need sliding in either side of the rail for the front. Then two longer ones need sliding in for the back end. Once that's done, the frame holder needs mounting onto the shorter bolts that are fitted towards the front of the rail. After fitting the Erde hardtop, tighten the bottom of the hinges up and get rid of any sideways movement that we'd left for fitting the hooks in. Once the bar is fastened to the T-nuts, use the M6 nuts with a serrated top and tighten this in place. This at this point doesn't need to be too tight, because you may need some movement in the frame to get it to mount correctly. However, once it's all mounted up later, it is very difficult to get up and tighten these, as there's not much room either side of the frame. Once this is done, in the box of spares, you want two plastic caps, one bracket and one U-bolt per side of this frame holder. Then out of the small nuts you need 4 M6 plain nuts. The M6 plain nuts drop into the turn wheels. Once this is done, the U-bolts go through a bracket that helps spread the load. This pushes up and goes through the holes on the outside of the bracket. Then the plastic knobs tighten down. When tightening these down, it's good practice to be able to move these. Erde do tell you to strap both frame mounting bars together when you're assembling it, but it means that you have to move both of them together, so we fit those later on in the assembly process. Once this is done, there's another plate required, 2 more nuts, and what I should have put under the other brackets, 2 large M6 washers. These sit over the T-nuts like so. The washers go on and the black knobs are then mounted underneath. These can be a little tricky, as when you slide it up, it can push the nut out of the plastic knob. Don't tighten anything up fully, and make sure that the load bars the cycle carrier is sat in line on the hardtop. I use the ribs in the top of the hardtops on the Erde trailers to make sure these are in line. Once the rail's in line, all the plastic knobs can be tightened down fully on both the front and the rear of the cycle carrier. Once all the knobs are tightened around the trailer, you can go back to the 2 bolts that secured the bracket to the rail. You tend to need a fairly thin wall socket to get in, and that needs to be tightened up like so. Once that's tightened up, you need one of the large coach screws, which screws into there. You need a spring and the large plain knob. This needs a plain M8 nut sliding in. Once that's in, it will screw onto the brackets holding them together. Then the locking knob is to be fitted. This again uses the large coach screw, the plain washer which the other knob should have had on behind, and this just screws on. This is a friction lock, and people often don't understand exactly how this works, but the friction lock basically releases any pressure when it's in the locked position, and stops people from being able to unscrew it. As many people regularly don't understand how these friction locks work, I'm just going to demonstrate using this this hole saw. Once this is in, which is a similar size to a large frame, this is tightened, the first knob's tightened up, then the locking knob's tightened up. At the moment this is screwing tighter in the locked position. Once that gets tight, if you put the lock into the unlocked position, when you go to screw it, it just rotates and won't undo. This stops anybody coming along and unscrewing the knob to release the bike frame. Once you put it back into the unlocked position, when you unscrew it, it will turn on the threads as it's removed the friction, and it will screw off. The keys for these locks are supplied with the load bar, with the cycle carriers. However, each cycle carrier has a different lock, so you need to be able to mark them up or show in some way which one fits which carrier, so that you can unlock them easily. As we're not the end users of these cycle carriers, we don't know exactly what bikes are going on, etc. Erde do supply 2 straps. These have holes in and are designed to mount on the underside of the rail to line up with the wheels. These would fasten underneath like so and be tightened up with a nylock nut. This secures the wheel in place once it's on, and will go through some rims on trailers. However, there are people that have a tall profile on a wheel rim where these are not tall enough to hold the wheels. We, however, as we're not the end user, supply these fastened round the carrier that stops the frame carrier bouncing around while in transit while they're on their way home. Last thing to fit, there are 2 end caps which close the end of the aluminium rail up. Once this is fitted and the straps are fitted where they're required, then the cycle carrier is ready to go.